So guys, welcome to the front yard. It's a duplex block and we have a narrow strip, and north is that way. So this is the plot where I've said that sweet potato survives summer on a west facing slope, exposed. You've got radiant heat off the driveway and it survives, along with onions and broad beans, which I'm just burying with mulch now. There's a worm tower, lemonade stand, cubby house in the camphor tree, which was going to be a problem. It is an invasive tree. Its roots can damage water systems, so I have to manage it, but fortunately someone's already managed it into a coppice woodlot, and so I can take out poles each year and maintain its size that way. I'm kind of letting it go a little bit for summer, and I want to increase the size of this platform so that adults can sit up there comfortably and it can be living space. Olive tree, I won't let it get any bigger than that. Very thick mulch with sweet potato coming through. Figs. Raised beds, bad idea. Carob. The impossible spot for lemon. These grow. Locust. These areas are difficult to garden. Full shade or full sun. Weeds grow okay. I'm doing a video. So this is the rocket-fired pizza oven. You can see it's taken some damage, but this is an earth oven. It's just made out of clay and sand and straw, a bit of sawdust on this outer layer for insulation, and it can just be recoated with a plaster coat of clay and sand anytime. I used bricks. It looks fancy, it's not really. I just didn't have anything else to do it with, and so the fire is down here. It burns sideways and up, and there's a central brick tube there which takes forever to heat up, and then there's a hot plate in there, so the fire comes underneath, has to come around it, up along the surfaces of the dome, and then out through the chimney.
Looks like a chimney.
And the advantage of this design is you can start cooking straight away, whereas a traditional pizza oven, the fire has to be going solid for at least an hour, and then you scrape out the coals if you've got a small oven and you've only got whatever heat has been banked in the meantime. So this one can cook straight away, and we'll also bank heat and we can bake later. So we do pizzas first and then maybe move on to baking after. So backyard's mess. It's the rocket mass heater. Fire goes in there, similar concept. Fire comes up in a insulated brick tube inside this barrel, heats the top of the barrel so I can have a kettle on top, and then the gases come down inside the barrel, creating a radiant heater, and then they go into a brick tube which is around behind there, and then they go into a galvanized steel tube that comes down along this way, snakes back, you can see in here, and then back again, and then up and eventually through the roof. And so the idea is you having heating there, radiant heat there, and then the bench is heating up as well. This is the all-purpose bicycle. It's coming along slowly, but managed to get this mount going so that the wheel can freely turn. So I've just hooked up a secondary chain, goes to this drive here, which is just part of another bike, and that can plug into other things and eventually hopefully turn my grinders and a blender as well here. So you sit on it this way when you're pedaling the machines, this way if you're doing the blender or riding the bike. Outdoor kitchen bench with a worm farm underneath the sink, so the water, excess water, and I was telling Jeremy, I think I had this on here, and every time I lifted it off to put something in, okay, the world we live in. So every time I took this off, all these little flies would come out, and it was kind of gross. But then this was off for a while and the spiders built up here, and the problem went away. So I'm kind of allowing the spiders here. This was the solar oven I was given. Besides the glass window, it's very lightweight.
How do you lock it up again?
I'll show you after. It's got these, and
What are those for?
therefore keeping the food off the bottom so it doesn't touch the bottom. See?
Oh. So you look at it like that.
It's the degree of complexity of my irrigation system. This one waters all the plants. This one waters, does the outdoor shower and some other plants, the tropical zone. And that's just hose.
So there's one sharp piece of a plate.
Where?
See that red thing? See that one thing?
Oh yeah. Thanks for telling me. Keep that for a mosaic or something. So there's the biogas digester. So what happens is I put rinse water from the kitchen into there, so it's got bits of food and milk and other things, and it goes into the feed tube, which displaces out the effluent that's already in there. It's filled with 200 litres of water and had cow manure in it to inoculate it with this bacteria, which then work on the rinse water and the kitchen scraps and produce a burnable gas, biogas, which collects in this upside down garbage bin, which is submerged in water and then rises out of the water as the gas fills. Just, there's no pressure. The weight has fallen off. It had about 5 kilos of pressure on it, and so I can just use standard irrigation tubing to run it over to a gas cooker, and then make my coffees and boil water for other things. Rocket stove, tin can rocket stove. Excuse the mess. Cost me nothing. It's got just an L tube of cans in there. Sticks go here. Air goes in there. The fire burns up quickly and pulls air in. And I do my grilling and some other cooking out here. What else? This is my limestone retaining wall that has the wicking bed, in-ground wicking bed, which is, I never intend to dig up. It's probably just a spongy mat of broken down mulch at the bottom now, as I've seen the ground level sink. but hopefully that's feeding these Lucina, which are the main canopy, and you can see them thickening out, which is nice for summer. I thinned them all for winter to let the light in. They're only supposed to live 4 or 5 years, but these are at year 5 and they're still showing bigger. And you can see they're loaded with flowers. It's abuzz with bees. But that does mean that they drop all of these things. Yeah, that's okay. Grapevines. Blueberries struggling. If anyone can tell me what this problem is with blueberries. This one gets a reasonable amount of sun. This one gets less sun, experiencing the same problem. Almond, I had a rust issue last time. There. Don't seem to be having that issue this time. Watering station with, this is a tree sunflower, a perpetual sunflower, which is growing underneath and through this, getting wedged. But this grows from cuttings, so if it struggles at all, I can and plant them and give some to you guys if you're interested. All my potted things are here. The idea is if I'm rinsing a bucket, rinsing my hands, I can just do it over these plants and they just incidentally get cared for. I am one to kill plants. I'm a brown thumb. Everything suffers neglect. These self-watering pots that you guys hopefully took home have really been a beneficial thing for me. It really means I can leave them for 4 or 5 days and come back and they're still alive. This temporary chicken wire side run with a banana grass and a random egg, keeping rats away from the chicken feed. Put a hole in my compost tumbler. So the chook run, always changing, always trying to figure out the best way to keep chooks. So should be a no-brainer because they are. Citrus zone, rat-proof, chicken-proof compost system. Beehive with a hat. Chocolate sapote growing very slowly. Palm round retaining wall. It only works so well as they dry out. They become extremely lightweight and anything will push them, so not the best choice. What's happened here? Why is it bleeding? This was a Lucina stick that I just hammered into the ground after cutting it down, and it started to grow, and now it is one with the mulberry. Same with this passion fruit, which is a big bopper, which is humongous and produces lots of flowers but hasn't fruited because it needs something else to help it pollinate. If someone can recommend me the variety that will help with that, I've heard maybe it's red Panama, but I'm not sure. That would be helpful. Allowing a citrus rootstock to go so that I can muck around with grafts onto it, just for fun. Almost at the end. Ice cream bean. I saw a flower the other day. I have had a few beans off it, and it's worth it. Picnic area, used to be a garden, now it's mulch. Macadamia. Banana. This is the tropical zone. Excuse the word zone there, it's got nothing to do with accessibility. Under here is a herb spiral, and I'm relying on the vegetation to keep it cool. but it's getting out of hand, and well, that's just what I allow to happen in this place. So I've got a really long pond here. This pond finishes here to collect the rainwater off this entire half of this pergola to recharge this, I'm hoping. I'm deliberately creating a low point here, and I've got a mulch kind of drainage system under there. I should just be able to bank it under here. And so under here is that same liner. It goes down 50 centimeters. It should have been 40. And that goes all the way along to where that pole is and all the way over to here. So any water that's lost from the pond will recharge that, which recharges all the tree roots, I'm assuming. Still doing a lot of work around this just to tidy it up and neaten it with rocks and allow sweet potato to grow over those rocks and just cover the black plastic, and it should just look rather natural. My little island. Got one goldfish somewhere in here. Water hyacinth, you know, a few weeks ago there was that much. That's how crazy fast this stuff is. But look, it's just so easy to pick up and throw it in the compost. Meanwhile, it's filtered the water, and it's accumulated any excess nutrients that are in there. So it's just a buffer against toxicity. It's beautiful. Shishi Odoshi. I'll turn on the sprinklers maybe and I'll show you. The mango. Everything is about the mango here. That's a tamarind, which is also fascinating and growing reasonably successfully. Behind it is sugar cane. There's two little clumps coming up. You want to talk about this pond? You want to tell us about this pond? You say. What's this pond? You shy? Okay. So another Shishidoshi. I don't know, I fell in love with them. And this one's run on a solar pump, which is just the cheapest one I could find, and it's terrible. You can see the holes in the... I intended to have it high up, but it couldn't lift the water any more than like 40 centimeters. Shocking. Sitting underneath this outdoor shower. This is all using reclaimed materials, nothing purchased here. The idea is you shower, the excess water helps to recharge the pond so you don't feel so bad about taking a bit longer. And also the piping for this runs along this pathway, which gets quite a bit of heat in the midday of summer. And so the water heats up, so you kind of start your shower hot if you like. Oops. Pijoa, I'm hoping I didn't get the one that doesn't fruit. It had lots of flowers, so fingers crossed. So, here we are. So hopefully you can see there why I'm so enthusiastic about Lucina. These and growing them again. And this one is maybe 1.5 years old. So it's already flowered and it's already flowered twice and producing seeds the first time. And the other one behind there is the same age. So that one's done a little bit better. But they're eminently sculptable. I'm pulling this one over here. I mean, it already has that reaching, arching kind of shape, but I'm sort of deliberately pulling at them. I'm using this one to pull the ice cream bean, which was kind of leaning a bit too much. And these ones are getting strong enough now that I can make a bit of a cubby house running a main piece across there and working off that if I can. Just create a little perch and then additional space. Lab going quite well over there, but smothering a grape vine. So yeah, dragon fruit. Let me know if there's anything here that catches your attention that I didn't really cover enough, and happy to talk about it. So I can show you designs for things. But if you're interested in doing a walkthrough of your own place, just chuck it up on YouTube privately and just paste the link into our shared Dropbox, and we can all do little tours of each other's places. Wouldn't that be cool? Okay guys, I'll see you on Wednesday?